Most wholesalers will never do a deal. And it's not because wholesaling doesn't work. It's because they make a few key mistakes when they're getting started that absolutely kills their momentum and stops them well before they ever get paid. So if you are trying to get into wholesaling or trying to get to consistent deals, this video is for you. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Matt Beard. I have helped hundreds of real estate investors not just get their first deal, but help them grow their businesses from there. And in this video, I'm gonna be sharing with you 4 breaking points that will cause you to never do a deal. And this is how you avoid them. Getting started in any field, normally the first thing you wanna do is to acquire knowledge. The thing you should be seeking the most in the beginning is seeking to understand. The more you understand, the more it's gonna help you do more deals and ultimately make more money. But the problem comes in when you start watching videos and you watch another video and another video. And guys, I was on this train. I know this very well. I always felt like I was missing something. So I spent 8, 9 months trying to acquire more knowledge, following different influencers who had different game plans for me. And what I realized very quickly was I was on this vicious, weird cycle that I would learn more and then I would doubt myself more. And then I would learn more and then I would be like, oh my gosh, well, I never learned about this other strategy someone's talked about. I should go down that rabbit hole. And then after trying to acquire more knowledge, I was realizing it wasn't getting me anywhere. And it definitely was pushing me away from actually making money. Just get going and start taking action because you learn so much more in the implementation of something than you ever will by watching more videos. And this may sound trickier, this may sound impossible, but the reality is you gotta be okay with making mistakes. When I first got started in this business, I was door knocking foreclosures. And thank God there was no cameras around because it would have been embarrassing. I didn't know what to say at the door, didn't have a script. And I remember trying to read and watch videos like, okay, I think I got it. I go talk to somebody, I would forget all of it. But it was in the action of being in front of people and learning on the go that I was able to take what I was learning and applying it and then making changes along the way. There's a saying that I love to tell the folks inside of our program, the people in our community. I say correct and continue, because you will learn and have a base level of understanding, which you can acquire in like a weekend. You don't need weeks or months, but you need to start applying that, because as you start to apply, you'll need to make small changes to get you where you want to go. So one of the biggest breaking points of people never getting where they want to go is you get stuck in this vicious loop of just learning and learning and learning and stockpiling all this knowledge and it not getting you anywhere, and it's definitely not going to get you paid. You have to start pairing that knowledge with implementation. So let's run through the next scenario. A lot of beginners and heck, even experts think the only way to grow this business is by spending more money on leads. And don't get me wrong, getting more leads and getting more motivated sellers in your pipeline certainly helps, but the problem comes in whenever you start spending thousands of dollars before you even know how to close a deal or even how to dispo a deal. So when you're getting started, it's like you're trying to learn all these things at once, all the while you're literally lighting money on fire at the beginning. I mean, I've seen people spend $3,000 to $5,000 a month and not even know how to close a deal. So you want to be very diligent. You want to be very selective on how you grow your business. That's the reason why inside of our community, I teach the no fluff model, which is we literally spend like $100 to do a deal, which is just the cost to text people. So is it the only way to do business? No. But is it a way that we be able to find to do deals without having to spend an arm and a leg? Yes. So the reality is when you get going into something and as you start to acquire that understanding and that learning, pairing that with action, don't put your money on the line because there's too many unknowns. It may take you longer than what you think. In fact, bank on it taking longer than what you think. And then when you do deals faster, you're pleasantly surprised. So you don't need to spend thousands of dollars. And I implore you guys, do not do this, because so many great investors that I've met over the years, they would still be in this business if they had not ran out of runway. Sometimes you can't just outspend getting going and taking the bruises, taking the bumps, and just taking action. So you do that, and all the while you start to acquire skills. And then when the time comes to spend money, you have the knowledge and the skills to make the most of it. That's how it works. So side note real quick, if you guys are getting value from this video and you see how getting free deals could be beneficial or trying to avoid these mistakes to get started, you can actually join our community. It's No Fluff Real Estate with Matt Beard. If you guys look at the link in the description, join it. You can be surrounded by, I think right now we have like 1,500 people in that group, surrounded by other investors that want to do the exact same thing. They're taking action. they're following these steps. And the funny thing is they're doing deals. In fact, when you get in there, reach out to Victor Flores. He made $35,000 last month. His words, not mine. Talked to him yesterday from using the free content that's inside of that group. So if you think that could be helpful, we'd love to have you in the group. Okay, scenario number 3. This is probably one of the most played out of all the ones that we're discussing here, and probably the most important that you avoid. Getting into any industry or any opportunity, there's a million ways you can go about doing it. In real estate, the rabbit holes are deep. There's so many different ways that you could go about growing your business, getting leads, closing deals, and everybody wants to speak in absolutes. Every guru wants to tell you, this is the way to do this. This is the only way to do more deals. And I don't do that because I know all those things work, because I've tried all the things of acquiring leads and closing deals and creative strategies, cash strategies, buying, selling. I could tell you all the ways that I lost a bunch of money, all the ways I've made a bunch of money. So when I was first getting going, I was seeing all this, and this also goes back to learning the knowledge and trying to watch more videos on different strategies. What I realized was it all works. The cold calling, the text messaging, the voicemail drops, the mailers, but there's a cost incurred for all of these things. Is it time or is it money? So people spend so much time. In fact, I was just talking to an investor before I even recorded this video where they're like, I've tried this out. This isn't working. I'm going to move on and try this other strategy. It's like, you don't need something new. In fact, Alex Hormozi has a framework called More, Better, New. So before you ever go implement a new marketing strategy, before you ever need to figure out that you need to hop from one thing to another, just pick one thing. And I promise you guys, that it works if you just stick with it. So the reason why I love our approach, and it costs us $100 to $200, I do have VA, so that's kind of our cost per deal. The reason why I stick with it is because I know it very well. And until I get to the point where I've done as much as I possibly can, and until I get to the point where we're the best in the best of the best in this industry at doing it, then I'm not gonna move on to something new, because we still need to maximize this. So unless you're making a couple $1 million a year off of one strategy, then you probably haven't maximized the opportunity. It's not that the thing itself doesn't work, it's probably that you're not working it correctly. So bouncing around from different lead gen strategies, the shiny objects are real, and you guys probably know that. But how to avoid it is by being very clear of what you're trying to achieve and sticking to the plan, even when the plan gets hard or you don't feel like doing it anymore. Or somebody else flashes a check and they made $20,000 doing this other thing. Great for them, stick to the plan, because that's where you start seeing outsized returns on your time and your money invested. Block out the noise, pick one strategy and commit to it. I don't even care if it's our no fluff strategy, just pick one. And I promise you, you'll start seeing some results from it. If you want to see a 30-day action plan for our no fluff model, it's in that community, completely free. It's a nice little presentation I probably spent way too much time making, but I think you'll like it. So this last scenario, I think is very relevant. I know I can personally relate to it. Getting started into real estate investing, I remember seeing ad after ad. God forbid I typed in real estate on Google, all of a sudden I was flooded with people saying wholesaling real estate, make $100,000 a month. And that was a shiny object and definitely caught my attention. But at the time I was making like $4,000 a month. How in the world was I ever going to be able to do that? We're sold these unrealistic expectations that we're going to be able to turn nothing into $20,000 in the first month. And if you don't do it, you're falling behind, because look at this Johnny guy over here just did $20,000 in his first month. Ha 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 ha. Well, having unrealistic expectations can, number one, knock the wind out of your sails before you even get started. People say, oh, it didn't work for me. It's been 2 months for me. I haven't done a deal. And they just stop. Or in the other way around, it's like thinking that getting into this, that's going to be true. And for many people it is. And a lot of people get lucky. But what I came into this with was thinking, you know what? Whatever people end up doing, that's up to them. I don't have the knowledge yet. And you know what? Luck just doesn't apply to me when it comes to this. Let me just put in the work, and the work should speak for itself. So what happens is people just don't treat this like a real business. They think that you're going to be able to send some messages, get some leads, and boom, you made a $20,000 contract. And I hope that's not you, but you guys would be surprised how much this actually happens. But if you do the work and you commit to doing these things, yes, the $12,000 deals are real. Yes, the $50,000 months are real. In fact, that's the reason why our community is called No Fluff Real Estate. I do this stuff every single month. We do these challenges where I build a business from scratch, or I'm working with community members at random. In fact, at the time of this recording, we have 2 new community members that I'm helping them scale their business on a live stream. And my goal is for each one of them to make at least 30 to 40 grand this month. But you have to put in the work. It's not an easy button. I can't do the work for them. They still need to pick up the phone and talk to people. They still need to learn the art of negotiation. They still need to learn how to sell deals. But I'm walking them through that process. But at the end of the day, again, I can't do it for them. And I think a lot of people come into this just thinking it's going to be easier than what it is. And in fact, when I got going into this, I didn't know what work was going to be required. And maybe if I would have known that, I would have been like, I don't know, let me try to find something else. But I'm so glad that I stuck with this, because by putting in the work consistently, same thing, I'm gonna quote Alex Ramosi here again. And he says, the work works on you more than you work on it. And that is so true. Guys, come into wholesaling with an open mind and a willingness to do the work that other people won't do. I talk to people all the time like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes. But when they get presented with the work, they don't seem so enthusiastic anymore. But if you come at this with the right mindset, thinking it's gonna be harder than what you think it will, and it's gonna take you longer than you think it will, lo and behold, you might just be pleasantly surprised. And you look up in a few months and you're making life-changing money. So I hope that's you. I hope to see you inside of one of our communities. If you like videos like this, let me know in the comment section below what you could be doing to grow your business and maybe a mistake that resonated with you in this video. I would love to hear from you, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.